Hi, welcome to our video. This is the third video in our series, Homesteading and Survival School. In this video we're going to be going over oil lamps, lanterns, and candle lanterns. Going to cover a few of the basics, some safety tips, and familiarize you with their uses. We'll start with the candle lanterns. These two here are particularly two of my favorites. The styles, they're larger and they have nice handles on them. You're able to avoid the heat for the most part on these if you need to move them around or when you carry them with you. It's not too hot. That's why I like them and that's why I use them. I do use sometimes these small models. They're good for lighting walkways, things like that with. They're going to get hot really fast, so when you light these, they're not something you want to move around. That's why I use them if I'm lighting a pathway or something like that. I'll use a couple of these. I'm not going to move them. They stay in place. You don't have to touch them. You don't have to feel that heat. And that's basically all there is with candle lanterns. Not too much there. You just stick a candle in them and light them and you're up and running. Next we'll go over some oil lamps. Here you see two basic models. These are small oil lamps. To give you an idea, this oil lamp here will light like a small bathroom or an average sized bathroom. It's going to give you enough light to be able to go in and see what you're doing, and that's about it. A couple other styles are, here you have one made out of a mason jar. They threw some rocks in there. It's a decorative and really nice. And it's larger, it gives off a lot more light, obviously. You can see here that the globe in this is a little bit loose. A lot of times that happens with your oil lamps. As you use them, your fitting becomes a little loose. That's why I recommend anytime you move your oil lamp to remove your globe, pick up your lamp and put it where you want it, and then replace your globe back on. I don't like moving them at the same time, just too many things can happen. Here's an example of a shroud being placed over the lamp to direct the light down. This was used a lot of times when people were writing or reading. They'd place this on the table where they were doing it at, and it gave them a lot more directional light back down to where they needed it. Here is an example of a wall style lantern. You hang this on your wall, you nail it, put your nail in, hang it from here. This is a shield to protect the heat from going against your wall. And these usually have a small fat globe on them, which I removed because I was going to be picking it up and handling it and didn't want to break it. I really like these. We usually hang 2 or 3 together on a wall, and it gives a good source of light on the wall there. Now the thing to remember about oil lamps and lanterns is they're not going to light up a whole room. What people use them for is to provide light for where they were at and for what they were doing. We're so used to, in this day and age of, our lights lighting up our whole room and we're able to see everything. What this is for is to give you light where you are and for what you need it for. So we'll talk about the flame. A lot of people, when they use oil lamps for the first few times, they want more light out of them. They're trying to light up their whole room, and they turn that flame up really high, and that's not good. That's not good for your wick. It's not good for your lamp, and it's kind of dangerous actually. It's just too much going on. Now the way to tell when you have your lamp set right is, I want you to notice this flame here. See how it wavers around, kind of bounces a little bit, and you got a lot of smoke if you can see that coming off. It's got a lot of wiggle at the top. What you're going to do is adjust that flame down till you pretty much reduce all that wiggle and all that jump, and all you have is a nice steady flame. And as you can see there, the flame's just got a little bit of bounce to it, but it doesn't have that wiggle, it doesn't have that smoke coming off. And now that the table's quit moving from me moving, the wick or the flame is pretty much steady, and that's where you want to be. We'll talk about a couple different types of lanterns. This is basic style lantern. This is what we'll be going over and talking about the most. So I move this out of the way here. But I will show you a couple examples of other lanterns. This is an old style lantern that they use in the railroads. This is pretty old and this has been handed down to us. We use them to decorate with as well as actually use them. And here's another one that we use. I really like this one. I like the shape of it, and collecting lamps can be you know, just like collecting anything else. You get your favorites and things you look for and things you like. Now we'll talk about lanterns. The first thing you do when you get a lantern brand new from the store, it should already have a wick in it. Most of them come that way. If it doesn't, it's real easy. You're going to place your wick down inside, you're going to feed it in, and this is your wick adjustment, and you're just going to turn that wick adjustment to feed your wick down inside. Once you get that down inside, you're ready to put your fuel in. Most of them are a twist and turn. You take those off and you're ready to add fuel. Now I generally do this in my garage. I don't do it in the house because, you know, spillage and things like that. I try to use a small box. I place it inside in case there is some spillage. It doesn't go all over things. It's contained and soaked up by the cardboard. This is your fuel funnel. You can pretty much pick up in any camping section. And here is lamp oil. You can use lamp oil and you can use kerosene. Lamp oil is more expensive, but it burns a lot cleaner. Kerosene cheaper, but it burns a lot dirtier. It will put black marks on your ceiling and on your wall. It's your choice on what you want to use. I usually use this in the house. If I was going to burn a lot outside, I would use kerosene. Basically, you just put your funnel in there and you, a little bit at a time, pour in. Take your funnel out and look down in the hole to check your levels. If you got enough light, good light, or a flashlight, you can see where your fuel level is. So you just want to do a little bit at a time because you don't want to overflow it and you have a mess and it's all over your lantern. Place your cap back on. Now, I would recommend allowing this to sit for an hour if it's brand new. Let that oil soak up into that wick. You want to have good coverage and good soaking of that wick before you light it. So now we'll go over the next phase of lighting it, and this will also cover some features on the lantern. Most of them you'll see will have this little lever here. You push down on this lever and there's a little notch at the bottom. It's going to automatically slide over. This is lifting your globe up and allows you, I usually use a long lighter like this or a long match. This allows you to get up in there and to light your wick. Once you have it lit, you press down on this lever again and it releases it from the notch and slides back down. Now you're ready to go. You adjust your wick to where you want it for a good flame and you're all set. Up top here, you can use this. This lifts, this little piece right here holds the globe in place. You can pull that up and use it to blow out, but this could be hot, so be careful. It takes a little bit of practice, you know, to be able to do that. Oftentimes you can extinguish your wick by just lowering your wick down in there to the point where it doesn't get enough air anymore and it goes out. Sometimes you need to blow it out. Now this also serves another purpose, but make sure your lantern is cool when you do this. You pull this up and it allows you to tip out your globe. This is how you can replace your wick And this is also used for, you can remove your globe and clean it, place it back in, and you just simply lift up the top and place it back in. Now that's pretty much all there is to lanterns. You know, some people get intimidated by them because they've never used them before, but it's really simple. Filling your oil lamps. Most of your oil lamps, you simply remove your globe. This is going to be a screw type thing. You unscrew it. Once again, use your funnel, put your oil in. The lamps are nice because they're usually glass and you can see what you're doing. And fill it about, I like to go about 2/3 to 3/4. I don't like to overfill it, go to the top. And that's as simple as it is for filling your oil lamps. Now be careful where you place your oil lamps. You don't want to place them on a high shelf too close to a ceiling. You don't want to place them on a shelf with another shelf over top of it. There is a lot of heat coming out of here, and it can cause a fire and it can do damage. When you light your oil lamps, you don't want to be carrying them around lit. Leave them where they're at. If you want to move it, put it out, move it to where you need it, and relight it. You have to respect lamps and lanterns and things like that, especially using them in your home. You know, if you don't respect it, bad things can happen. Make sure they're high enough that if you have dogs or kids, they're out of the way where a tail's not going to hit it, a kid's not going to come around to say you have a table like this. I would not recommend leaving it in the middle of a table like this where a young child could come in, hit that table, knock the lamp off. When that fuel, if this hits the ground and breaks, that flame is going to light that fuel right now, and your carpet, your hardwood floor, whatever, it's going to go up fast. So be smart, be sensible, and always think about what can happen where I have this lamp placed, and use your best judgment. That's pretty much all I have on this. It's pretty basic, it's pretty simple. People make it more difficult than it needs to be, I think. If you have any questions, be happy to answer them for you. Just put them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this gave you some ideas and tips, and you'll enjoy using some lamps now. We'll see you in the next one.